Hi everyone, welcome. Yes, hello, welcome. So today I want to talk, I'm going to go slow here at the beginning just so other people can join us. I want to talk today about thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, because I've sort of put some of this in some of what I've talked about in the past, but I wanted to have one live just about thoughts, feelings, and beliefs and understanding them a little bit, and really kind of how they don't have to define us, which might sound strange, but it's really true. So I'm going to start with beliefs. Beliefs, some of the beliefs we choose for sure, especially as we get older. We choose because we decide that, hey, I want to live in Colorado because I like it and because Colorado has these things with it, and I like the outdoors, and I believe in this. Hi, Rhonda. And another belief is I believe that all people are good. Hi, Faith. That's a choice that I have made to believe in. And so we get to choose, we choose some of our beliefs. Many of our beliefs, probably most of our beliefs, we actually don't choose, and they are more so either social constructs or they come from our family. And so just to give so they're just things that are sort of handed down. We don't actually think through them, and we don't know why we believe that or why we're behaving this way. It just is, we just think it is that way. So an example of that might be beliefs around money. Like how if you grew up in a family where money was scarce, and there was, that you were told not to think about buying certain things, or hi Valerie, don't even think about, getting that, or think about having that, or if one family member controlled the money and so the other person had to ask for money, and it became a battle, if there were battles about bills all the time. I think many of us know what that's like. Hey, Danny. Hi, Shalini. And so if you grew up in that environment where there was a sense of lack or control around money, then we develop a belief system in our inner unconscious mind. We develop this belief system around, money's hard to get. Money is scarce. It's the only way to get money might be to have to work really, really hard for it, or to trick people or something, to be a trickster to get it. And so we develop, and you see this in people all the time, having a scarcity mentality. Oh, I can't do that. I can't spend that money. Like, we have to budget. We have to be wise about our families, right? Hi, Nixio Solo. And of course, but recognizing, thinking about what your belief systems are, and we have belief systems about everything that for the most part, were handed down to us. And it's really fun to be able to think about those things. And part of what I wanted to say is that our belief system doesn't really necessarily define us until we actually go through a process of thinking about it, thinking through it, and deciding that we want to have that belief system. So even if let's just take money as that example, I definitely grew up in a scarcity mentality, and I've inherited some of that, and I'm right now in my life working on trying to expand of money is energy, and it can cut, and actually, we live in this amazing time right now in our society where I barely deal with cash anymore, right? I do so much paying and buying and paying for things and receiving money through the internet, through different service providers, and my banking and all of it. Hi, Anna. Hi, Jerry. So really the concept of money, and I think about how my kids might relate to that later, they're barely going to know cash, right? And I grew up with cash, and it was always you count it all the time, and you get, you count back the cash to people. Like all these concepts are starting to change, and their children aren't having as many experiences with it because we don't have as much money around, as much cash around. Most of it's just numbers on a screen, right? And we've attached a value to it in our minds. And so what is the value that we've attached to it? Like, I'm going to have to talk about this later because there's so much to talk about here, but I think you get the point of that we have a belief system around money, and and that belief system doesn't have to define us. We can actually change it. We can change our belief system through a lot of work and exploration and changing our mindset and reading and all that kind of stuff too. And so the way I look at it is that, well, I don't want scarcity to define me. And so I'm going to work on developing a different mindset around money so that I can have a different belief system and I can behave differently in the world, and I can change how money flows in and out of my life. So that's the example of a belief system and how we can shift it and how it doesn't have to define us. We don't have to stay in that. And that it's something that's handed down to us. And there's so many areas of our lives in terms of like the planet, sex, like love, like so many of these things were just handed to us. We didn't really necessarily make a conscious choice to have a structured belief system around it. And so we get to change all that. That's the beauty of, being on the planet. And then thoughts and feelings, I just want to say too, so this isn't too long, just how, wild hair. Thoughts and feelings are transient, or can be transient. And thoughts affect feelings, and feelings affect thoughts. So sometimes the thought comes first, and sometimes the feeling comes first. Depends on where it's coming from. And what I love about thinking about thoughts and feelings is that they also don't have to define you. We can get stuck in our thoughts. We can get stuck in our feelings for sure. But also that doesn't have to be who you are. So if you have a negative thought or feeling about something, say it's, I'm not sure what a good example would be actually. Like say it's just a relationship you're in and something is really bugging you about that person. And you have big feelings about it. So your feelings, so what I would say about that is that, hi Heidi, is that again, if you're stuck in that and you're feeling that, that doesn't have to define you of like, I'm a critical thinker, I'm stuck in negative thinking. It doesn't have to define you, because it's okay that it's there. And that for me has been incredibly helpful, because it allows me to step out of the thought. Actually is like, I don't have to own that thought. I don't have to, not that I don't have to own it, because I think it's important to own it, but I don't have to be that thought. I don't have to be that person that lives that thought. I can see it come and go. I almost think of it as a weather system, like it's like a cloud coming and going. And sometimes it's a storm, sometimes it's a hurricane, and sometimes it's a sunshine. And we know how to handle a lot of that, right? The sunshine is wonderful and beautiful. I'm talking about more of the cloudy, the darkness, the storm, and the lightning and the thunder, and the hurricane kind of thoughts and feelings that we have. Is that we don't have to become that thought and feeling. We can let it pass through us. That's kind of my main point. It took me a while to get there. Is that, and we get to discern, what we want to do with that thought and feeling, but it's just a thought and feeling. And we get to decide, do we want that to live in our lives or not live in our lives? That's the beauty of it. And so many of us just think that, well, I'm having that thought, that must be me, or I'm having that feeling, I'm just a weirdo, or I'm just an overwhelmed person, or I'm just too emotional, or I'm this or I'm that. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means you have a cloud passing through, or you have a storm passing through. And we're human beings and we're built that way, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so that's my main point, is that none of this defines us or says that's who we are. We get to, as it happens, we get to experience it, we get to watch it, we get to protect ourselves, or we get to like live it and go through it. We get to decide. And there's huge power in that. And we get to go through life that way, to like decide, like, and develop clarity, and actually like being able to think of it that way as this weather system passing through. It helps us to develop clarity about, well, who do I want to be? Because I want to take that, but not that. And just really make a conscious choice about who we are on this planet in this moment and how we want to show up. So I think it's a really powerful way to be in the world. Sorry, it's getting windy here. And so I just want to wrap it up here, but hi, Justina. I'm just wrapping up, and I'm happy you came, so you'll have to watch the replay. But please give me your comments. I would love your feedback. And if you watch the replay, please let me know you're watching the replay. And I just hope you have an amazing, beautiful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.